Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Christopher Saunders, and I'm pleased to have on with me the guy who threw a perfect game against Bassick. Mr. Fasono is with me. My guy, appreciate you coming on, man.
Quick correction. It was a no hitter.
Oh,
Perfect
no
game.
hitter, not perfect
Yeah.
game.
Well,
No
one
hitter.
walk. I didn't want to had to put it out there. But yeah, I ruined that. I did have one walk, but yeah, it
You
was
had
definitely.
to, you had to walk the one guy. You had
Yeah,
to.
I know. Yeah, I might have had a questionable strike three call, but stuff happens. It was whatever.
Hey, the umpire gave you one, but then had to take it away, right?
Yeah. I mean, stuff happens.
But hey, still, again, congratulations on the no hitter. And I don't know if Kennedy's had a lot of no hitters in their history, but for you to be able to accomplish that, man, I mean, with the season that you've had, and your head coach Chris Sarlo, who's the head football coach as well, set me over your stats on offense and what you've done on the pitching side, and it's all state worthy, and I think it could even be more than that in terms of the state of Connecticut. Like, have you realized what you've done this year, man?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to keep my head too much in the stats because I don't want to overwhelm myself at that much. But yeah, I've looked back on it recently and it's been pretty cool to see. But I've just been trying not to worry about it, just keep playing good baseball and doing whatever I can to help us win because that's really like the most important thing to us right now.
Now, how difficult was it? Because I know you did not play basketball this year to focus on baseball, but
Mhm.
I did see that you did come to the games though to support your guys because you were part of the team for some years. Do you feel like that kind of maybe not having to focus on basketball and strictly do baseball, do you feel like maybe you came into this year maybe farther ahead than some guys when the season started because I don't know what your routine was, what you did, how much time you took off from throwing and such. Hitting's a little different. You can hit a million times and you're good. The arm's only got so many bullets. Do you feel like you had maybe a little bit of an advantage because you've been focusing just on baseball this year?
Yeah, I mean, my junior year I did all three. I played football and then baseball and basketball. And I think kind of going like boom, 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 like definitely took away some like preparing time. I had to miss some like lifts or some like any training during basketball season because I obviously had practices and games. So like when I realized that my junior year, I was like, it was my senior year, it's my last year. I want to give everything I can. So I sacrificed the sport that I was least successful at, and it definitely gave me more time to prepare for baseball. I lifted as much as I could. I just prepared and got my body ready to like do everything I could. And I think definitely taking it seriously and dedicating more time to it, I think definitely helped me prepare and get ahead of some guys for it. And it's helped us a lot this year.
I can tell you though, there was a JV game your junior year, you couldn't miss at three. Now after that, you cooled off quite a bit, where I don't think I saw you make a three after.
Yeah,
That one game, you looked like Steph Curry. You're making in
yeah.
threes. I think you probably remember what game that was too.
Yeah, I had a couple of them. JV was some fun times. He usually gave me the green light because that was my strong shooting for sure, and that's the reason that they had me play a lot. But they didn't have it wasn't any bad blood when I decided not to play. They knew I wanted to get ready for my sport, and it was just they knew like they still want me to come support them, and I did. But yeah, it was definitely hard to say goodbye because I did like shooting a lot of threes. It was fun.
And also too being able to get coached by Coach Morrison and Armin too. And they had their hands full coming into last year because they didn't start out great. I think they were 1-8, 1-9. But I told Armin if there was ever a way to be able to, and the NVL doesn't have a coach of the year, other conferences do. But I said if they did, I think you and Morrison, the team, could be kind of given the award because they had to finish and win their last two games just to qualify. And just the run that they had too, where they won, I think, five out of their last or five of their next six after starting out 1-8, 1-9. It was like a tale of multiple seasons, but they found a way to do it, man. Those kids were tough.
No, yeah, 100%. Vass and Coach T are great guys. They're one of the like hardest working coaches I've ever experienced. No matter what, like win or lose, they're constantly trying to get better, and they'll put forth the best work effort they have, and I think it rubs off on the team too. Like no matter like if those guys win or lose, they come back hungry, and it's a cool thing to be a part of. They're really hardworking people over there.
And just like too, I know football, the numbers may look like they're a lot, but obviously there's only so many that play because Coach Charlo has to kind of limit it because again, if you can play, obviously the varsity level, you will. Otherwise, you got to sit back and watch. Basketball, the numbers are not ginormous, right? High school sports are a little bit different. Baseball, as you mentioned too, I mean, the numbers are not, again, crazy. Although when they look at Kennedy, they're like, oh, there's so many kids, but you kind of have to dive into it more. Do you feel like kind of having that, I don't want to say mentality, but because there's not as many kids, like you mentioned with Fearful Prep, 120 lining up around the field for football during your playoff game. Do you feel like that kind of gives the guys a little bit of like a spark of like, all right, hey, we're competing against an army. Let's go kind of shut them down. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, 100%. When we came into that, we didn't care how many people they had. Like, we knew we were outnumbered, but we knew we were hungry and wanted to, keep making history from what we were doing.
Mhm.
But like, I think it kind of kicked in a little bit in like the end of the second and third quarter. We were like, they're not getting tired. They have subs and like we're playing the same, usually like 10, 11, 12 guys on the same side of the ball the whole game. So I think that's when I realized, like it's hard, but we just did the best we could, like kept working. And I think it's definitely difficult, but it shows a lot of composure and shows who you are as a person, knowing like you just got to keep working because you're the best we have. And if you can't come out like, because otherwise it's gonna have an effect on the game. So I think us just kind of like bearing down and just working on what we have definitely builds us as people too.
I think about the memories. I know in conversations I've had with your head coach, Coach Sarlo, who's honestly, there should be a statue for him at Kennedy. I don't know how they haven't made it yet. Hopefully
Yeah,
they will before he retires,
yeah,
which will be for a while. But when I think about the memories that you guys made, and honestly, the last 2 years, I know you just fell short, but the season that, speaking of basketball, starting out 1-9, you guys did not start out great your junior year.
yeah,
You lost quite a number of games, but then you finished strong. I think you won six in a row, if I remember right, or
yeah.
something like
Well,
that.
close to that, yeah.
Yeah. So like, and then you carried that momentum, just missing the playoffs. And then you have a great senior year this past football season, right? I feel like that's stuff that you guys, not only like you and I were talking about, you laid the blueprint for hopefully future Eagles to see like, hey, you can if you want to play football or you're interested, there is success here. There is a structure. It can be done. It's possible. And hopefully you guys can be proud of what you were able to do, not just this past season or your junior year, but all 4 years, 3 years, however long the guys played.
Yeah, no, I think us setting, like you said, a blueprint for the younger people, I think would definitely be a cool thing to see. I really hope people see the success that we've had in the recent years and think like, hey, like I want to come here and keep this going because that's kind of how I felt coming in. I saw they had a hard time having success, and I came in and I was like, I want to do everything I can to turn it around here, and
Mhm.
we did the best we could. We get had some success. So like I really hope, like you said, it has some effect on younger guys and they want to continue it in the years coming.
How tough is it, man, when you think about speaking of the toughness of having a limited amount of people playing, especially with roster size and such, you know, Coach Sarlo told me, and I didn't realize this, with baseball clinching a playoff spot in the state tournament. Now, mind you, football, first time ever making it, so there's a lot of history with that. First time ever in Kennedy history that both basketball, football, baseball, the big three sports for boys side, have all made the playoffs in school history. And you think about you, Danny, there's so many others as well that names I can't remember off the top of my head. But you think about that, and it's like it's just another thing to put on for like your senior class, but the group in general. I mean, that's really cool, and I'm surprised it's not getting recognized for that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely cool to like to see the success that we've had this year was in sports in general. But it's kind of been tough because we've made the state playoffs for football. We lost in the first round. I'm pretty sure we made the state playoffs for basketball and they lost in the first round too as well.
Yeah.
We just made the state playoffs this year and we don't want to keep seeing like we're a bust. We don't want to go in the playoffs and feel like we like other teams think we don't belong here. Like we want to go now and like make damage, especially after like having a hard time for football and like not having it even be a close game. Like we want to come back hungrier now because half of our football starters play baseball, like most of them do. And we had so like we've experienced that loss and what it feels like walking off the field for the last time, and we don't want to go through that again at all. So I think we definitely are hungrier and ready to come back this time.
Well, just tell the football guys that, all right, here's the first round. Just get angry about what happened in football.
Yeah.
Take it out on the ball. Danny, if you're on the mound, just do your thing. Obviously, do same thing, and maybe you'll have success, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely something we're looking forward to. We're just excited to, continue our season, and
Mhm.
obviously making the NVLs would have been nice, but it's just the next game is what matters, and we're definitely excited to play and get out there.
So I was at a stack a couple weeks ago, and I was talking with a coach in the NVL who every time I talk to him, I learn a whole lot, right? And he brought up a good point where once you get to this point of the season in May for seniors, and I'm only mentioning this too because you're a senior, obviously Danny, so on and so forth. It's tough, regardless postseason qualifying or not, because you got prom, you've got graduation. It's tough. You got the I know that there's a game that I don't know what it's called, but it's like you gotta not like injure or kill your teammate, but you gotta like pretend like they are. I saw
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm talking
Assassins,
about,
yeah,
search and
assassins.
destroy or something.
Yeah, yeah, senior assassins. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, senior set. I wish the name was a little different, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I digress. Point is, it's like something like that, right? I'm
Yeah.
showing my age. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I got you.
But stuff like that, the focus, right? And then you're focusing on school. And if you have, you're dating somebody or you got stuff at home or you got whatever, like you mentioned to me over the weekend, you have a job, like you have so many things. And he said how the May part of the schedule is always tough because the seniors are directed in so many different things. They can't focus on nobody can on every single thing. How have you been able to do that and still perform and still do everything else? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a lot to juggle, like especially too since worrying about college next year. It's getting closer and closer, like as we speak. And I think the biggest thing is just trying to worry like less, like as least as I can, like just going out there and having fun regardless of the outcome. Obviously I want to go out there and win every game, but that's unrealistic. Obviously I want us to, be not make any errors, like hit the ball every time. But that's like that stuff happens. That stuff happens. And I tell the guys all the time, like they always get down on themselves, like they expect themselves to make every single play. And like when I pitch, errors happen. Guys are gonna put the ball in play because I'm gonna do my best to throw strikes, and like they always get hard on themselves. So I'm like, dude, like don't worry about it. Like I don't care if we make errors and stuff like that happens. I really care about how we like treat it moving forward. And like you can only control the future. You can only control what you're gonna do after that. So I think it's been a big thing about how we respond. But yeah, I think we were doing a lot better at just having fun, like trying to be worry free because no one. It's so much harder to play under pressure. And we know, like seniors know that it's our last couple of games coming down, but like that's why we just want to go out there and have fun. Like, winning is fun. So like we want to go out there, play worry free, and just do our best to put together our last couple of games the best we can.
I mean, I've always believed no matter what team you're playing, if you do the small things right, if you catch the ball and you pitch the ball clean, no free passes. I'm not saying you got to hit a bunch of home runs because obviously not every team can do that. But if you do the little things well, you occasionally, steal a couple bags or utilize your speed if you have it. But if you don't make any errors, don't shoot yourselves in the foot, the walks and the errors, you can compete with anybody. Obviously, if you give up hits and whatever, that happens. That's the game. Like not to say they're paid because they're not. This is not college, but they want to get hits. So if you give up hits, it's a part of the game. But you don't want to walk guys. You don't want to commit errors because, as you know, you commit one and then it's two and then it's three. It's like a snowball effect. You want to avoid that, especially in the States.
No, yeah, yeah, and I think that's another that it goes back to just like going out there and having fun. Like we're really trying to take the most amount of pressure off of us as we can, and I think that like definitely going to help us moving forward because I feel like in the beginning of the season, after not qualifying last year, we like put so much pressure on ourselves. Like we need to win as much games as we can. Like we need to go out there and prove ourselves immediately. And we ended up, I'm pretty sure we started the season off 0-5. Like I'm pretty sure we lost our first 5 games. And we're like, we obviously have to change something. Like, this isn't gonna work if we keep like putting so much pressure on ourselves, and it wasn't helping us. So we realized, like a quarter way through the season, we just got to go out there and like ball out. We can't like stuff happens, errors gonna happen, people are gonna strike out. But you just got to go out there. And we have outfielder, right now Santos, our center fielder. He's been having like a harder time at the plate this year. Like, he's been hitting well, but like he's just every time he strikes out, he gets really frustrated. I tell him all the time, he's one of the best center fielders in the league. Like, like I'm like, dude, I don't care if you don't hit the ball. Like you can go 0 for 4, have 4 strikeouts. Like I don't care. Like don't go out there and make an error. You know what I'm saying? Like don't carry that. into defense. So like, he's been a lot better with it too. Like, if he has having a hard day hitting, like, he's going to be locked down in the outfield. He's not going to let a ball go by him. And so the same thing other way. Like, if you make an error in the field, go get a hit. Like, go score us a run. It's just been stuff like that. And I think we just been trying to do everything we can. Like, don't try to do other people's job. Do your job. Just get it done. And I think that will help us win more games.
Is there any funny stories either from Coach Sarlo, any of your teammates, or anything that you want to share that happened this season so far? Anything like that
Um,
that can be shared?
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head. No, we've had some funny times. I mean, it was actually on Friday. It was during a no hitter
Hmm.
because I know I remember I came in after the top of the fourth inning. I just struck out the side, and I was feeling really good. And in my head, I'm like, wow, like I haven't given up a hit yet. But I was like, I didn't want to talk about it because every time, like it happened a couple times last season. Like I had one against Derby, like a no hitter going into the sixth, and Danny came over up to me like out loud. He's like, "Oh, dude, you you got a no hitter going." And then I would like give up a little blooper into the infield. So I walked over to our manager in like the bottom of the fourth inning. And I was like, hey, I was like, is what's happening right now happening? I didn't want to say it out loud, but I was like, is it happening? And he's like, dude, yeah. And then all the guys come over like, what? What's happening? Like they wanted like to say it out loud. I'm like, dude, stop talking. Like just let it happen. And it was a funny moment because everyone just wanted to like blurt it out because they were excited. But and then after I finished the next inning, and then after that, everyone was like, "Oh, like it was funny because like it's we jinxed ourselves a couple times with it, but for it to finally happen was cool."
At least Danny kept his mouth shut this time and didn't
Yeah,
say
yeah, I know. I know. I would have been upset if it happened again. I would never let him hear the end of it. But
Hey, really appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a lot of fun. Before I let you go really quick, obviously you said what, you play Derby tomorrow, correct?
yeah, yeah,
Now who's on the bump for that game?
I am.
Okay. Now
I,
is
I
that the
stayed
final
under.
game?
Yeah, it's the final game of the regular season.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed under the pitch limit Friday, so I'm good to go for tomorrow. And
Mhm.
we want to do it to clinch the highest spot we can in the state. So looking forward to taking another win tomorrow.
Now, going into that game, season finale, obviously, for people may not know, more than likely you will not be in the NVL tournament. So there'll be a little bit of a stretch before you guys play again. I think it's like a week and a half. I have the date somewhere on my phone as far
Yeah,
as when the
June.
NVL
It's
tournament
the
is.
it's the first week of June. Next week is the NVLs, and after that, state starts. So
Okay, so about realistically 2 weeks mindset, but still, it's a long time, especially you guys have been playing pretty well. Obviously, you too. You
yeah.
want to continue that momentum. Um, Do you feel like, and I know Derby's having a tough year, but can't take them lightly, obviously, because if they beat you, then you know what? They did their job. They played spoiler. Um, do you feel like being able to have that last game can kind of keep the juices flowing and then try to carry that momentum if you guys do win and you play well? Try to carry that in the States, albeit about 2 weeks away.
No, yeah, 100%. We're not taking anyone like, no game is a given. And I think we're just gonna go out there and try to dominate the best we can. I mean, Derby's a team you can't take lightly. They're gonna play till the last inning. They don't want to lose. They don't want to end their season on a loss either. So they're gonna come out hungry. And we're just looking to like take them down and take another division title for us and move it to the states on a win streak. And like taking that momentum and hopefully trying to do some damage in the states. And that's gonna be a big challenge for us.
Hey, best of luck tomorrow with your game against Derby and also in States. Congratulations on the no-hitter, man, and also too with everything else you've done. Best of luck to the team.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Always, I wrap things up here in the CT Sports Talent. Next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. Enjoy and find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.